Hi friends, I'm Elise, and welcome back to Literally Elise. Despite having a rough reading year, I do have a stack of 10 books that I would consider favorites of the year. I do have them in order of least favorite to most favorite, and I definitely think my number one book deserves it. I am very excited. 3 of the books on this list were a Libernauts book club pick for 2025, and 5 of the books on this list were sci-fi. I had a pretty good sci-fi year. That being said, I also had 3 Libernauts book club picks on my worst books of the year list, which I did already post, so if you've not watched that yet, I have it linked down below, so be sure to check it out. Book number 10, I was pleasantly surprised by. I didn't really know what to expect because I'd never read by this author before, but that is Made for You by Jenna Satterthwaite. This is a sci-fi thriller. We follow 2 different timelines. So in one timeline, followed Julia, who's a synthetic woman. She was created specifically for this show, very similar to The Bachelor. It was kind of an experiment. So she was created solely to be like the perfect woman for the guy on the show. So like everything that he loves in a woman, in her personality, in her appearance, in her hobbies, would he pick her over all the other women? And he does. So the other timeline is 15 years later. She and Josh get married. They have a kid together. He turns up dead. Being the wife, she's of course suspect number 1. We follow kind of this investigation. This is really good. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. It was a really fun book club discussion. I loved Julia as a character, and I rooted for her the entire time. It explores obsession and control, and of course, what happens when technology knows us better than we know ourselves, which is kind of something we're getting close to experiencing, which is interesting. If you are skeptical about trying out science fiction, but you like thrillers, this would be a great one for you because it is like equal parts thriller, sci-fi. Definitely worth checking out. Book number 9 is another one that took me by surprise, mostly because it's YA, and I typically don't like YA. It's a YA fantasy. It's part of a duology. Mortal Queens by Victoria McComb. This was so good. Every year, the Fae come to this mortal kingdom. They select one girl to be their mortal queen. They bring her back to their world and shower her in gifts and luxury and all these amazing things. And this year, our main character is selected. We follow her from her life in the mortal realm to this other place, and I was invested in this story, in the characters that our protagonist gets to know and just, become so important to them. They would do anything for them. Like, oh, so both like the characters were amazing. The writing was amazing. The plot was amazing. I immediately had to pick up book 2 to see how it ended. And I'll talk to you more about that shortly. Book number 8. I'm very happy to see on this list because I've had this author on my list before. Last couple books she's come out with, they had me worried. I'm like, oh no, am I done with this author? But no, we're still going. That is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. It's a psychological thriller. There's an unreliable narrator. There's messy relationships. There's secrets and little twists and turns like all throughout. And like, oh my gosh, I was questioning everything, yet trying to figure everything out, and I was wrong. I was so wrong. So we follow this author, Grady. His wife disappears and he is having a hard time writing. So his literary agent is like, hey, I have this place on this island. Go there, relax, reset your mind. Maybe the creative juices will get flowing again and you'll be able to finish your next book. The vibes, it's dark and dreary and mysterious. And like the people, it's like, what's going on there? Can I trust this person? That's kind of weird. And then at the end, mind blown. I've heard a lot of people not like this one. I don't care. I loved it. It worked for me and I'm so happy. Books of hers that I have loved, by the time I get to the end, I'm like, I need to reread this and try to pick up on the things that I know now. She's just so clever. The little hints and clues that she drops that I did not pick up on. This was good. Book number 7 is Lethal Kings by Victoria McComb. This was the wrap up for this duology, and I loved it even more than the first one. So obviously when we get to book 2, we're already invested in the characters, and now the plot is ramping up. Who can you trust? What is going on? The way things are laid out, you're like, how is this going to end? And how is it going to end in a good way? Because I was concerned. Book number 6 is another sci-fi and another Libernauts book club pick, and that is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I loved this. Loved the movies. I was very nervous to go into this book because the books are usually so much different. Didn't tab it up as much as I thought I did, but I did not want to write in this one just because of the edition that I have. I think the thing that surprised me the most is how accessible it was, because I mean, this book was written in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I think it was published the year I was born. Copyright 1990. It didn't feel old. It felt pretty modern, to be honest with you. Gorier than I expected. Lots of intestines. Makes sense. They're dinosaurs. They're like mauling people. There's a lot of science in here. I love science, but I don't want to feel like I'm reading a textbook. And this didn't feel that way to me. It felt very accessible. I feel like this had a really good message overall too. So it's like scientists are actually preoccupied with accomplishment. So they are focused on whether they can do something. They never stop to ask if they should do something. They conveniently define such considerations as pointless. If they don't do it, someone else will. Discovery, they believe, is inevitable, so they just try to do it first. That's the game in science. Even pure scientific discovery is an aggressive, penetrative act. It takes big equipment, and it literally changes the world afterward. And then there's something about the earth being resilient. I really want to find that. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is Dr. Ian Malcolm, where he's talking to John Hammond, who's the creator of Jurassic Park. So he's like, most people believe that the planet is in jeopardy because of one, what happened with Jurassic Park, but two, just in general. Malcolm's like, let me tell you about our planet. Our planet is 4.5 billion years old. There has been life on this planet for nearly that long, 3.8 billion years. The first bacteria, and later, the first multicellular animals, then the first complex creatures in the sea, on the land, then the great sweeping ages of animals, the amphibians, the dinosaurs, the mammals, each lasting millions upon millions of years. Great dynasties of creatures arising, flourishing, dying away. All this happening against a background of continuous and violent upheaval, mountain ranges thrust up and eroded away, cometary impacts, volcanic eruptions, oceans rising and falling, whole continents moving, endless, constant, and violent change. Even today, the greatest geographical feature on the planet comes from two great continents colliding, buckling to make the Himalayan mountain range over millions of years. The planet has survived everything in its time. It will certainly survive us. I have goosebumps right now just reading that. Already loving this story because of the movies. It went so much harder and so much deeper. The whole idea of what humans are actually doing to this planet with their scientific advancements. Highly recommend. Book number 5, Bookshops and Bone Dust. If you watched my worst books of the year list, there's another Travis Baldree on that one. So clearly I don't love all his books, but this one I really enjoyed. So this is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. So we follow Viv before she started her coffee shop. We meet some more great characters. We're in another really cool town. Fern, loved Fern. She's such a potty mouth. It's ridiculous. Just like Legends and Lattes, it was super cozy. Yes, there's some action that takes place, but it's not like super high stakes. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Cozy fantasy perfection. There's found family, and it's just very gentle. This one's by the sea. It's almost like you could smell the salt in the air. Book number 4 is an interesting one, and that is When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. It's a weird concept because it's not like a storyline. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But the focus is this cosmic event where the moon one day turns into cheese and everyone on planet Earth is freaking out. We don't get to know characters. Each chapter is a different point of view, like literally every single one. We do see repeat characters, but that's because they're like part of the life of another character that's being focused on, but we never revisit the same POV. So every single chapter is a different POV. And it's just basically from the day that this happens through, I can't remember how far it goes, like a year? I don't remember. And everybody that we visit, every point of view that we see, it's a different person and how their life is impacted by this event. We see people in government, a movie producer, director, a cheese shop owner, people that work at NASA, and just like random people in a small town. It was just so fascinating. It's a super serious concept. If anything happened to our moon, that would be really scary. So it is serious, but at the same time, it was so quirky. It was really funny. It was super interesting seeing all these different points of views. It's almost like every single chapter was a short story, but they're all interconnected because they're all dealing with the same event. And it's not like the same day over and over. It's like like I said, it starts at day 1 and then it goes and goes and goes and goes. I'm kind of hoping that all John Scalzi are like this, not the chapter by chapter different POV, but the vibe, the quirkiness. If that's the case, I think he could really be an author that I enjoy reading from. Book number 3 is another sci-fi. This one is a sci-fi horror, The Way Up is Death by Dan Hanks. This is the second book that I've read by this author. Loved the first one that I read. This one takes place in the UK. One day there's like this tower that appears in the sky. Nobody knows where it came from, what it's doing, if it's safe, if it's something they should be worried about. And once it's been in the sky for a little bit of time, then magically 13 strangers are teleported to the base of this tower. Ultimately, they end up figuring out they have to enter this tower. It's very Squid Game-esque because there's a lot of death. Very survival focused. It's like a game and they're like puzzles. So like each floor of this tower is like a different level that they have to beat. It was so exciting. Also like so deep. This author has such a way with words and with putting such meaning into his writing. Yes, this is a sci-fi. Yes, this is a horror. I also cried though. You get to know each of these characters. So it's a pretty big cast of characters. It didn't feel overwhelming to me. The story itself, I'm trying to remember. I think we only get 3 POVs, but among those 3 POVs, we do get to know all 13 characters. We're not dealing with all 13 the entire time. By the end, I mean, there's just, I did not see coming what ended up happening and just the emotion that it brought out in me. It was so well done. Definitely pretty stressful of a read. I did do a full fan cast for this book, which I'm actually quite proud of. It was a great time. I loved it. We're in my top 2. We're almost there. Book number 2, another sci-fi, another Libronauts book club pick, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Oh my goodness. I put off reading this for quite some time. I was very nervous because typically when I do that, I just build it up in my head, and then I'm usually disappointed. I was not disappointed with this one at all. Holy crap, this was so good. Yeah, there's a lot of science in it, but I feel like it's done well and it's explained in a way that didn't feel overwhelming, at least to me. But I mean, that was kind of the consensus with a lot of other people that read this with us, I think, is either they didn't feel overwhelmed or it was easy enough to kind of like skim over the sciencey stuff. Like it's just like a lot of numbers, like a lot of physics. And unlike another Andy Weir, which is on my worst books of the year list, this one made sense. It had an awesome plot. I feel like it actually went somewhere, and where it went, oh my goodness. I don't know what I expected out of this book, but it was and it wasn't what I got out of it. This is like peak sci-fi for me. Well written, amazing plot, amazing characters, so funny. I would definitely recommend tandem reading this with the audiobook if you have the opportunity. It'll just really improve the experience for you. And then the movie comes out later this year, so I'm very excited for that. And book number 1, favorite book of the year. Pretty sure it's the same author that was my favorite book of last year as well. If you keep up, you will not be surprised. And that is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. One thing that I really enjoy, I don't know why, but I always prefer to read these physically, no audiobook. And I think that's because it kind of helps me slow down and be more in the moment. This follows Xavier and Samantha, and they have a very not great first meeting. She brings her little kitten to him. He's a vet. The kitten has a very big issue. His suggestion is to put the kitten down, and she's like, no. Her stubbornness and her reluctance to accept his initial answer, I think, really kind of won him over. It's very serious. Like, this is not fluffy rom-com at all. It's very contemporary. There's a lot of heavy stuff going on here. We get to know the characters. There's a lot of trauma that one of the characters has to deal with, a lot of health struggle happening with one of the characters' families. There is Alzheimer's rep, but despite the heaviness, there are so many moments in here that I would laugh out loud and then like immediately cry, or be crying and then very shortly after be laughing. I love the music that is discussed. Yes, I was fully invested in this book, in these characters. Oh my gosh. And I sobbed. I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And I kind of love when books can do that. Favorite book of the year. Whew, okay, we did it. Let me know in the comments what your favorite book of 2025 was. And be sure to watch my worst books of 2025 if you haven't already. I have it linked down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, bye.